Coming up on the bench, we've crowned some national champions, and the college basketball transfer portal is officially open, which means one thing: absolute chaos. Which important pieces are entering the portal, and which ones are staying for Syracuse men's and women's basketball?
And how about a simultaneous trip down to North Carolina for Syracuse men's and women's lacrosse? The third-ranked men's squad battled the second-ranked Tar Heels in a clash on Saturday afternoon. Now for the third-ranked women's team, they went down to Durham for a dance with number 18 Duke Saturday as well. Was it just Syracuse's minds that were gone to Carolina, or did their competitive edge make the trip as well? Shout out James Taylor.
No, I say we did there. Plus, we got our first look at Syracuse football in 2026 at the spring game on Saturday. How does Fran Brown pump some juice back into a program after a 3-9 season last year? Q's Countdown analyst Ben Chadwick joins us in studio with some answers. It's on the bench, and it starts right now. What's going on, everybody? Welcome inside our CitrusTV studio. Thanks for joining us on a Tuesday night. An hour special here on the bench. Gino, Antimarino, and Della, Piana. Thank you so much for joining us. Gino, a couple of new pairings for us. Our buddies Max Gifford and Luke Burgess have left us. Do you like the change? You like change in general?
Are you talking money change, or
I'm
are we
talking the change in your lifestyle? You like it?
It depends. It depends. I like routine, but for you, I guess we'll make the change a little bit for you.
All right, appreciate that. Well, one thing that doesn't change is our headlines of the week. Newly appointed Syracuse men's basketball coach, head coach Gerry McNamara, is beginning to build out his roster for the upcoming season, and that includes the coaching staff. The Orange announced 3 additions to the weekend over for this staff. And let's start with Ryan Daly, who served as an assistant coach under Phil Martelli at VCU. The Rams reached the NCAA tournament this year and even knocked off North Carolina in the first round. Before his time in the Commonwealth, Daly worked with Martelli at Bryant, where the Bulldogs also earned an NCAA tournament berth. Daly is considered by many to be a rising coaching star. He turns 28 in January.
GMAC then went to associate head coach at Penn State, Jamal Brunt. Now, nothing is official yet, but Brunt would come in with over 20 years of coaching experience at the college level, spending his last 3 with the Nittany Lions. Brunt looks to bring support on the back end from Happy Valley to the Hill, as he served as PSU's defensive coordinator, helping his squad rank first in the Big Ten in steals a year ago. Before his time at Penn State, Brunt had coaching stints with VCU, Miami, Richmond, and Randolph-Macon.
Let's keep it rolling with Ben Lee, who was an assistant under McNamara during both of his seasons as a head coach at Siena. He played a key role in the program's turnaround after the staff inherited a team that had won just 4 games 2 years ago. And before joining the Saints, Lee spent 2 years at Washington under former Syracuse assistant Mike Hopkins. He worked as the Huskies' director of basketball operations in his first season before being promoted to an assistant coach and appointed director of recruiting.
Now, last but certainly not least, most recently, Coach McNamara brought in Arenze Onuaku over from Siena yesterday. Hey, Q's fans, what's better than one homecoming? Onuaku played for the Orange back in 2005 to 2010, where the big man amassed over 1,200 points and 800 rebounds through 134 games. McNamara had Onuaku join Siena a couple seasons ago in order to work with and develop primarily the big men, and given that SU had the second worst rebounding margin in the ACC this past season, a hire like this could certainly contribute to more presence on the interior. Now, with the portal opening up in men's basketball as of about 22 hours ago, there are bound to be a few key departures and acquisitions from Syracuse after an underwhelming season and a coaching change. But let's start with the guys coming in. It was just announced on social media this afternoon that Siena's Gavin Doty has transferred into Syracuse. The 6'5" rising junior averaged 18 points and 7 rebounds per game with the Saints last season. The Fulton, New York native put himself on everyone's radar after dropping 21 against top-seeded Duke in the first round of the NCAA tournament a few weeks ago. Syracuse also added European sharpshooter Mark Morano Mamatovic. The Slovenian spent this past year in the second division of the Adriatic League. Mamatovic is 19 years old with a 6'7" frame, and what Coach McNamara likes most about his game is his a career 39% three-point shooter. That's sharp shooting from distance the Orange as a team could certainly use, because last year they shot 33% from distance, second worst in the conference.
That's not good. Well, the Porteth giveth and taketh away. Donnie Freeman announced on social media this afternoon that he is entering the transfer portal. The 6'9" forward led SU in scoring and rebounding this past season, averaging nearly 17 points and 7 rebounds per contest. Freeman, remember, a top 10 overall recruit in the 2024 class, the highest recruit since Milo, but missed a total of 28 games due to injuries over the last 2 seasons. He's one of 7 Syracuse players to enter the portal from this past season, and it's a list, Gino, that has Nathan George, Akir Soare, Luke Fennell, Tyler Betsy, Chiefing Diawara, Aaron Womack. The name really goes on. Maybe the biggest loss there, of course, being Donnie Freeman, but you lose your point guard in Nate George. And after George came in from Georgia Tech, averaged about 6.5 assists per game, was a little disappointing, if you will. That assist-to-turnover ratio was really low for the Georgia Tech transfer. He'll be finding a new home next season.
Yeah, Nathan George just never really panned out. This was a guy, I guess now 2 seasons ago with Georgia Tech, was one of the leaders in the ACC in assists and assists per game. Now, he comes into Syracuse, and his assist-to-turnover margin was one of the worst in the ACC. So definitely someone that Syracuse would have liked to get going a little bit more, but just didn't really pan out. Donnie Freeman, same thing, never really developed. His points per game were solid, but you were expecting a little bit more out of him. Tyler Betsy, a 3-point shooter, but definitely someone that can get replaced as well.
So with those 7 names leaving Syracuse, of course, Doty now coming in. Let's play our own game of Portal Terminal, if you will, where we're going to give some positions and a player to look out for. I'll start first with our target practice. I think Syracuse in this offseason really needs to focus on the backcourt. We just mentioned Nathan George, J.J. Starling, even a guy like Nate Kings is not coming back next year. Yes, J.J. Starling did not have a great season. Really, look at the last couple of games, really underperformed. But I think a really underrated part is Nate George. Those 2 guys came into this season, and Starling was the one who built this team as those scorers, and George just wasn't the playmaker we were expecting. So I'm going to really need some backcourt help for Jerry McNamara this offseason.
Backcourt is definitely something that Syracuse needs to target. For my area that Syracuse needs to target, I'm going with size and physicality on the interior. Bringing in a coach like Onuaku is a step in the right direction. But like what Adrian Autry said after the loss to Wake Forest, there are so many rebounding drills you can teach, but at the end of the day, the players have to go out and execute. So Syracuse needs to bring in some players who can bring that presence on the inside. The Orange had the fewest total rebounds in the ACC last year, the second worst rebounding margin in the ACC last year, and on that 6-game losing skid at the very end of the season, Syracuse was out-rebounded in every one of those games. They need presence on the interior.
Certainly so. So let's go back to my backcourt pick. And who am I looking to target this offseason? I'm going to go to the SEC and Jeremiah Wilkinson out of Georgia, a top 10 scorer in the SEC this year. If that name sounds familiar,
it's a good pick.
He played in Cal 2 seasons ago, where he probably would have won the ACC Freshman of the Year if it wasn't for some guy named Cooper Flagg. Ever heard of him?
Who's that?
He's only the #1 pick and just dropped 50 a couple nights ago. But for Wilkinson, the interesting thing is here, 3 teams were at the top of his list reported today: Vanderbilt, Florida, and Syracuse. And Syracuse being the main one because its agent, Michael Carter Williams. So definitely something to monitor. Wilkinson is a guy that goes and gets it. He's a very attack-heavy guard, if you will, that likes to get to the rim, as you see in these highlights. I think it would be a massive addition in the backcourt if Syracuse lands Wilkinson.
And how about his performance in the NCAA tournament against St. Louis? An excellent performance.
He was the only one that showed up really in that 40-point blowout.
Right. So that would definitely be a good pick for him. Now I'm going back to the ACC and a school that Syracuse saw this year, and I had the pleasure of seeing them multiple times this year, just watching Louisville's games. I'm going with the big man, Sananda Frew. Now, he's someone that brings that size, that physicality, which Syracuse definitely needs. Sananda Frew, he's also a senior, so he's bringing that experience with him as well. But 6'11", 250 pounds. The biggest issue last year for Syracuse was that size on the interior. Yes, William Kyle is a freak athlete, but Sananda Frew just gives you that extra few inches on the inside. He also can stroke it from deep, but he averaged 9 points per game last year, 6 rebounds, and a block per game. So he has that presence like you see there. He can dunk it like William Kyle, but he can also get it done and be that presence that Syracuse certainly needs along the glass.
Little surprised Kelsey let a guy like that walk. He's going to hopefully be a big part for Syracuse if Jerry McNamara wants to have a big offseason. Feel like those two guys are
I can only imagine the price tag for him to come to Syracuse.
Yeah, those top guys reportedly
you got to aim for the stars.
Are getting up to $5 million. Guys like these, maybe more so in the million range, but we'll just have to wait and see.
How many am I getting for NIL?
No, you're not getting any.
Nothing for on the bench?
No, nothing for this year.
Come on, Charlie.
Well, over on the women's side, 7 Syracuse women's basketball players have announced their intention to enter the transfer portal. That leaves the Orange with just 4 players currently on the roster. So that departing group: Justice Fitzgerald, Sophie Burrows, Maddie Potts, Shai Hawkins, Camden Nelson, Aurora Elmo, and Jasmine Cooper, maybe Gino Antimarino. I'm just kidding. Well, you add in Layla Felia's graduation, the uncertainty surrounding Dominique Darius' push for another year of eligibility, and that roster picture becomes even thinner. The good news, though, reigning ACC Rookie of the Year Uche Azoje is staying for another year at Syracuse, and you got to think that had to be costly to lose all that talent to keep his OJ.
Absolutely, and one of the things that I noticed about this team, Andrew, was talking to the players and even like the social media. I know this is funny to say, but the social media of Olivia Schmid, you could tell that this was a group that was really close with one another. So I don't know what happened in terms of what the message was in the locker room in terms of, okay, after this year we're all going to leave, but unfortunately, some big names that Syracuse is going to have to replace here in this transfer portal.
Including Sophie Burrows, who had been there for 3 years. But we'll stick with another veteran, Dominique Darius. We mentioned her uncertainty, and she's had a long career, a tough one at that. And we send things over to Milo Hoffman for more on her great story.
Change can be seen as nerve-wracking and bad sometimes. But for guard Dominique Darius, change came at the perfect time and led her to the perfect place. The guard spent her first 4 years of college at UCLA and USC, but in that stretch, she only started in 8 of the possible 68 games and never averaged more than 6 points.
Look at my stats in the last 3-4 years in college haven't been amazing, and I knew I wanted an opportunity to play. Basketball is a game of situations. Sometimes some really good players are just not in great situations, and then once you find the situation, if you've been working for it and staying into the process, you're going to be ready to shine. So
with 1 year of eligibility remaining, she set her sights on Syracuse, and boy, has she shined.
This is her time down the alley. Darius and one.
Darius calls her a number. Dominique Darius, are you kidding me?
Big shot from Darius.
Darius with the fadeaway holds a follow through.
She's so cool under pressure, isn't she? I mean, just no panic in her eyes whatsoever.
I'm just grateful to God, honestly, and I'm grateful that I never gave up on myself, and I'm grateful that the woman sitting next to me, gave me another opportunity to show what I know I am capable of doing and helping lead this team to win a lot of games and to win championships.
Unfortunately, the season ended short for Darius after the guard suffered a season-ending hand injury in the ACC tournament that required surgery. But when SC won its first NCAA tournament game in 2 years right here in Storrs, Connecticut, the guard made an impact from the sidelines, like the captain she is.
We have timeout, she's like talking, I'm like, oh yeah, she said, because she's seen everything. So hearing her from the outside the court it means a lot.
Not one time this whole week, even with surgery, like she was texting me back and forth before we got on the plane and just telling me what I need to do, got to stay ready. Like, she's just a true leader and she's selfless. Like, she's always proven that to us, so we're grateful to have Dom on our team.
So despite the first 4 years of college not going to plan for the former 4-star recruit, in year number 5, it's safe to say Darius found a home at Syracuse and put together a campaign that will be remembered. Milo Hoffman, CitrusTV.
Thanks so much, Milo. Yeah, you would have loved to see Dominique Darius play in the NCAA tournament, but just an unfortunate thing there. Coming up on the bench when we come back, we got to talk about Syracuse men's lacrosse going down to Chapel Hill and taking on the number team in the nation in North Carolina. Then on the other side, Syracuse women's lacrosse has been dominant so far. Can they keep that momentum down in Durham? Well, you got to stick around and find out. On the Bench returns after this.
Look at you. You're at the top of your game. You're unstoppable. Nothing can throw you off track. Wait, is that your car? Uh-oh. Yeah, I saw that coming. That will throw you off track. You're looking at around 10 grand in fines, legal fees, and increased insurance rates. Let's try this again. Smart move. Because buzz driving is drunk driving.
Taking care of a family member can lead to plenty of questions. Fortunately, there's a place to get the answers, for them and for you. Find articles, tips, and tools from experts and others who have been in your place. The Caregiving Resource Center at aarp.org/caregiving.
Welcome back inside our Citrus TV studio with Andrew Della Piana. I'm Gino Antimarino. We just talked about the chaos that is the transfer portal for men's and women's basketball, but now it's time to dive into some men's and women's lacrosse. Two teams, Andrew, that have been red hot so far this season.
Yeah, Syracuse came in at UNC with that 5-game winning streak. Then the women's side, 10 straight with Reggie Thorpe. They're rolling right now.
They are. But how many people know about how successful men's lacrosse is? We'll start with them first. How many people know about their success and North Carolina's success? Well, our Drew Albaugh went down to Chapel Hill and right here in Syracuse to ask some fans to see if they know about the two programs. Take a listen.
I'm here for a top 3 matchup in the heart of Chapel Hill between number 3 Syracuse and number 2 North Carolina men's lacrosse. But just how many people know these two teams are this good? Well, only one way to find out. What sport is it?
Ooh.
So I'm going to guess men's baseball. Field hockey?
Gotta think hard.
I have to think hard. Let me think.
Lacrosse?
Lacrosse, men's or women's?
Women's?
Women's soccer? I'd say
UNC.
Yeah, but what sport?
Lacrosse.
My grandson is a sophomore at UNC. He's a defender, number 88. He is absolutely awesome.
Lacrosse?
Lacrosse is correct.
They're going, I'm guarantee you they'll go to the Final Four. You can interview me when we come back.
You're going to the
Yeah, we're going to the game.
So it's your first ever lacrosse game?
It is, yes.
Well, clearly not a ton of people here in North Carolina are familiar with lacrosse, but how about in Syracuse? Well, let's go find out. Well, turns out it's just as sunny here in Syracuse, although 20 degrees colder. Let's go find out what Syracuse students have to think.
Basketball?
Not basketball.
I have to say lacrosse.
There you go, the men's and the women's team.
Men's.
I'm guessing basketball, but I don't know anything about sports at all.
Oh, no.
You want to guess?
Something women's. Men's lacrosse.
With confidence, too. You were correct. Have you ever been to a game?
No.
Name one player on the men's team.
Joey Spallina.
There you go.
Women's basketball.
No.
I don't know. Lacrosse?
Oh, lacrosse. Is the men's or the women's lacrosse team?
Men's.
Yes, you got it right. Was that a complete guess?
That was a complete guess, bro.
Can you name anybody else?
Michael Leo.
Oh my God, keep going.
Cross country. Finn Thompson.
Wow.
Billy Dwan.
Well, it turns out both schools still have to get their lacrosse knowledge up, but that didn't stop these two teams from going at it in front of a packed house in Chapel Hill. Let's see how it all went down.
Thanks so much, Drew. I mean, listen, fans got to start paying attention. These are two of the best teams in the country. Number 3, Syracuse. Number 2, North Carolina. The first conference game for UNC this season. Syracuse 1-0. And right off the bat, Dominic Petramala leading the ACC in goals, and he's showing why. 1-0 UNC. Wyatt Hoddle responds, ties it up at 1 apiece with about 2.5 minutes played in the first quarter. But then with seconds left, Ty English gives UNC the lead 4-3 going into the second quarter. But that's when the Tar Heels really started to catch fire. It started with Owen Duffy, who's coming off a career-high 7-goal performance last time out against Harvard. There's Dominic Petramala. Here's Caden Harshbarger. All of the stars, look at that sidewinder coming out for the Tar Heels and really instilling that dramatic lead over Syracuse. But Michael Leo saying, no, we're not going anywhere. Syracuse down by 3 going into halftime. By the way, North Carolina 9-0 when leading at the half. And he's why, pretty much. Dominic Petramala, 5 goals in this game. Are you kidding me? North Carolina swinging the ball around. They go up by 6. And Syracuse, they need an answer. So what do? They pull Jimmy McCool after he allowed 12 goals on 19 shots faced. They go to Michael Ippoliti, and Michael Leo with the hat trick, really trying to ignite his team to come back. It's 12-8, and look at that shot from Dominic Petramala. That goal alone should have given UNC the victory. 14-9, UNC takes it. Syracuse loses its third game this season. Take it away, Drew.
Have you ever heard the phrase, you are what you eat? Well, how about the term, you are what your stadium is built out of? Syracuse lost to North Carolina 14-9, and UNC goalie Josh Marcus was a brick wall. The freshman finished with 15 saves, a career high. On the other hand, Joey Spallina finishes off with 0 points. It's just the second time that's happened all season long. Sometimes you just gotta tip your cap to excellence.
I think we had open looks too. Everybody gets open looks. You just got to, hope you get some stops. Goalie makes some saves, and their goalie made a bunch of saves on our open looks, and we didn't make them on theirs. So that's the way the ball bounces.
On the other side of the equation, SU starting goalie Jimmy McCool allowed 12 goals with just 7 saves, and by the end of the third quarter, found himself on the bench. Michael Ippoliti stepped in for Jimmy McCool and allowed just 2 goals and had 4 saves.
They had quite a lead, so we need to do something, try and change the momentum. And Michael Ippoliti does a great job in practice, and just wanted to give him a chance, and he played really well.
Well, the next chance for Jimmy McCool to bounce back off the bench is next Saturday at the Dome against number 14 Virginia. That game's at 4. Reporting from Dorrance Field, I'm Drew Albaugh, Citrus TV.
Thanks once again, Drew. And you gotta say, Jimmy McCool has been above average this whole season. In fact, I think he's been one of the best goalies in the country. But when you go up against North Carolina and the marksmen that they have, Andrew, you're going to get tested. And unfortunately, his defense didn't do much in front of him. But when you're going up against the second best team in the country, there's a reason why UNC is number 2. But to have the confidence to go to Michael Ippoliti in that situation in the fourth quarter, trying for a comeback and say, listen, you have all the pressure between the pipes, I think that goes to show the tandem that Syracuse has in goal.
Well, think about it, too. When McCool got benched last year after that Harvard loss, what did he do? He come back, he win ACC Goal of the Year. So it's one of those things that Gary Gate did last year, and it paid off. Now, with Michael Ippoliti, not as much experience, you're kind of throwing him into the fire in that fourth quarter. Would you rather just ride out your best guy all season long and give yourself a chance? That's kind of what it feels like for McCool.
Yeah, there's certainly some questions. Josh Marcus, how about his numbers? A 6.25 percentage.
Those Staples High kids are good, just like our AP Charlie Scott. They're good.
and shutting down Joey Spallina, no points in this game against UNC. I mean, that is unbelievable stuff there, Andrew.
Certainly so. Defense was the name of the game there. And, well, both lacrosse programs had Carolina on their minds this weekend. Just like James Taylor said, less than 10 miles away in Durham, the women faced a ranked matchup of their own against number 18 Duke. Reggie Thorpe and the Orange have rattled off 10 straight wins. They are rolling right now and climbed to number 3 in the rankings. So was the second dose of Tobacco Road a little bit better? Let's head down to Koskinen Stadium to find out where the Orange have won the last 9 meetings with the Blue Devils. Trying to keep it that way down in Durham, and Emma Muchnick doing a good job of starting that fire for Syracuse. What a month it has been for her, rolling on from March into April, one of the best players in the ACC. Then you add on Molly Guzik, up to 30 goals this season. Syracuse takes a 2-1 lead into the second quarter. But that's when Ava Biancardi started to get things going for the Blue Devils. She had a hat trick in this one, one of the best players in the country. And then Grace Whitaker also for Duke, getting on the score sheet. It is a 1-goal game in the late stages of the first half. Then Molly Guzik going in the spin cycle. My goodness, where are you going? Number 6 in white. Syracuse takes a 1-goal lead into halftime. And then it was a hat trick party, started off by Biancardi once again. 4 different players recording hatties in this one, including Syracuse's Ashley Volpe. That's right, this is the most goals she's had in a single game since the NCAA tournament loss against Yale when she had 4. That second one put Syracuse up 7-6 after they went 10 consecutive minutes without a score. SU up by 3 in the fourth quarter, but hold on just a moment. Bella Goodwin makes it a 1-goal game. Then Stady Stafford ties it up at 9 apiece. In the final 5 minutes we go. Emma Muchnick delivers in the final 2 minutes. Syracuse takes a 10-9 lead. Can they hold on? Yes, they can, thankfully, to the post. Daniela Gayet sees it goes off the right side by Biancardi. Let's take one more look at it in slow motion. As time expires with about 2 seconds left, Biancardi gets a great look off the catch, rings it off the post. You can say the goalie certainly needed the best friend, the post, on that one for Syracuse to survive in this game 10-9. It's a phrase we've heard a whole lot this season, and Ryan Croke is there to tell us even more about that.
William Shakespeare was a heck of a playwright, but not even he could write something as dramatic to the finish of number 3 Syracuse women's lacrosse's 10-9 win over number 18 Duke. Let me walk you through it. SU has given up 3 unanswered goals to Duke in the fourth quarter before the go-ahead score by Emma Muchnick put Syracuse up 10-9 with just over 2 minutes to play. Duke has one last chance, and in the final seconds, they take it. And it hits right off the post. SU is no stranger to close moments, and it was another success for the Orange today.
We got a little frazzled, but I thought our kids showed really good poise and calmness and composure, and they've been in a lot of tight games. You know, sometimes just under fire you get used to like tight games. So they made a few plays and and squeezed a couple ground balls, and I really like that our kids calmed down and showed good composure there in the fourth quarter.
The win is SU's 11th in a row and its 3rd in games decided by just a single goal. The Orange are 3-0 in such games.
Been a lot of dogfights this year, and I think when you get you get in so many dogfights, you just kind of get immune to it, and you don't get too rattled. And I said, this team plays with a lot of composure and calmness, and I think when we got away from that a little bit in the third, we settled back down, and hats off to the team.
SU returns home to face 13th ranked Notre Dame on Saturday. Opening draw for that one scheduled for noon. Reporting from Koskinen Stadium in Durham, North Carolina, Ryan Croke, Citrus TV.
Thank you so much, Ryan. You really hit the nail on the head there, my friend. Tight games for Syracuse to get win number 11 in a row. And Reggie Thorpe really hit on it. When you get in all these dogfights, you get immune to it. That has certainly been the case for Syracuse just over this nice little stretch of games.
I have to say, I think the first 3 games of the year where Syracuse went up against that gauntlet, that was Maryland, North Carolina, right? And this was a team that was tested on the jump with a new head coach, different players coming in. I think that was a blessing in disguise because this team, obviously you can see the close games they've been in, and the fact that Syracuse can pull those games out. We know Reggie Thorpe is a defensive-minded coach, and that's what he's been preaching all season long. But for them to go out and execute, that was one of the biggest things he talked about heading into this year. His players are very coachable. He said that is a trait he would give up anything else, but to have that is very important.
And that's what you need, that veteran leadership that we saw on full display from Emma Muchnick. Syracuse been very successful in close games this year, but there hasn't been a lot of close battles for Syracuse football, at least last season. But the spring game, it's on deck. We're about to get our first real look at the 2026 squad. Who's rising? Who's surprising? Who's making a statement? Ben Chadwick, our own star, joins us next.
Fancy pants peanut butter? A big screen television? You haven't even bought a sofa yet. A motorcycle? When your father finds out, he's gonna flip his shoes with 2 buckles? What do you even need 2 buckles for? Mr. Big Shot, buying whiskey shots for everybody in the bar. From the looks of it, I'd say nobody even remembers. Feed the pig.
They call me Maxie, but I prefer tripod. I was your above-average 4-legged homie, and then wham, bam, minivan. Some people pity me. Now that's lame. I still run, fetch, and swim. And the ladies love me. I'm the ultimate wingman. Just don't ask me to high five.
On the bench rolls on from our Citrus TV studio. Gino, Antimarino, Andrew Della, Piana back here with you. Got about 30 more minutes or so left in our program. We've done a lot of recapping so far, so why don't we go into the future, if you will, because there's a big day on Saturday, I heard. I don't know if you heard about this. 2 lacrosse games, then a football game, all in one day. How do you do that?
I don't know. I mean, the dome's going to be packed. It's going to be working overtime. Women's lacrosse taking on Notre Dame. That's going to be a good one, a ranked battle. Women's lacrosse, 11 straight wins. And then men's lacrosse taking on Virginia, another ACC ranked matchup. And then finishing off with the football spring game. A lot of things to look forward to, Andrew.
How about John Desko, too, also getting honored into the Ring of Honor? That should be a really cool ceremony for that big game at home against Virginia. But I really want to focus on that football spring game, and for that we bring in one of our Cuse Countdown analysts, Ben Chadwick. Tall guy right here. How you doing?
It's good to be here and to be tall.
Yeah, I'm not really on that side. You can tell.
All right.
But that's all right. Let's talk some football, though.
Please.
It's the springtime and there's snow outside today, but there's still ball to be played on Saturday night with the spring game. A lot of moving pieces for this team this season, especially at the quarterback position. Steve Angeli, we're not really sure right now when he'll be back. How do you think he's going to handle the situation come Saturday?
Well, let's preface this first off by saying Steve Angeli will be the starter when he is back and fully healthy. Fran Brown is in love with that man. He's professed his love on several occasions right now, so he will be the starter when fully healthy. But the thing is I talked with Javon Edmonds over at Syracuse.com. He told me there is a quarterback battle going on right now between Amari Odom, the Kennesaw State transfer, and Malachi Nelson, the UTEP transfer. Now, Amari Odom is the guy who is the proven talent, right? First team All-Conference USA, led his team to a Conference USA championship, averaged over 230 passing yards a game last year, along with 2 touchdowns as well. He's proven himself at the FBS level. Then you get to Malachi Nelson, who was ranked by ESPN as the #1 recruit in 2023 at the quarterback position, and he goes to USC. He commits there. He's under Caleb Williams for a whole season, because of course he would be, right? But then he loses his job in the offseason to Miller Moss, right? Then he transfers over to Boise State, loses his job at Boise State to Maddox Madsen. So he's like, all right, let me get some playing time at UTEP. He plays there 4 or 5 games. He doubles up his interceptions on his games, 9 picks, 8 touchdowns in those 4 games, loses his job there as well. It's been a rough going for him, but it should be interesting. There's a very high ceiling there.
Yeah, I think Malachi Nelson was the #1 recruit back when we were like in 7th grade or something like that, and he's still playing college football. And then Odom, also the recipient of the Ricky Collins trade, if you will, with Kennesaw State. But that's it with the quarterback stuff. Let's move on to the defensive side. This was a defensive line very depleted in the offseason, whether that was graduation or the transfer portal. What players on that D-line are you most excited to see?
Well, there's one I'm really excited to see. Keyshawn Johnson over from UT Martin. The FCS level, I get it, but he was fantastic over there. He was a first-team All-FCS, 2nd most sacks in the FCS as well, 14 of them in his 10 or 11 game season that he played out there. How about 20 tackles for loss as well, 3rd most in program history, and this guy is an animal, Andrew. This guy is 6'3", 230 pounds, moves off the line like a receiver. He is so much fun to watch, and I can't wait to see what he does at the ACC level, and we'll get our first look in that spring game.
Yeah, a lot of people might not be able to pick out UT Martin on a map. They certainly will when they find
it's in Tennessee.
Johnson there on the field in that spring game. Now let's get back to the offensive side. Wide receiver, it's touchy right now because Calvin Russell, of course, he's out indefinitely. We have no idea when that #2 recruit out of this class is coming back, and someone has to step up in his place, right? There has to be a #1 receiver.
It's a position group that could not have been, there couldn't have been a worse injury to happen to any Syracuse position group, because you're right, the transfer portal and graduation just picked them bone dry. There's not much left, but they brought in some transfers. The one I want to focus on here is Cole Weaver out of Miami of Ohio. This guy, similar to Keyshawn Johnson, 6'3", 220 pounds. He's a big guy. I'm expecting him to be the starting X for Syracuse in this upcoming season. A go up there and get it sort of guy, if you will. Led the Red Hawks with 45 receptions, was 2nd on the team with over 600 yards as well. He's just a big dude that you can get the ball through the air, and if he gets it in the short game as well, can break a few tackles. So that is a guy I want to look out for in this spring game to see how he can make the transition once again to the Power 4 level.
Miami, Ohio had a good basketball year. Maybe it translates over to football. Who really doesn't know? But this schedule, it's not as difficult for Syracuse this year. Let's take a look at it because 3 wins last year. You're going to be frustrated, of course. But the big matchup I'm looking forward to, that home game against Notre Dame to end out the season. Not too many tough road games, if you will, compared to a season ago.
No, there really aren't. I mean, I don't know why you're looking forward to the Notre Dame game. I think we all know the result. I mean, what was it, a 60-point loss this past season? I'm not sure how much you could look forward to.
It's called a revenge game.
Okay, revenge game. We shall see about that. Those first 4 games, though, I think they could go 4-0. Against California, that's a fun and underrated team. JKS at the quarterback out there. But what I really am looking at, that mid-October area, that's where you really get desperate for Steve Angeli. Unless the replacement is really balling out, if it's Odom or Nelson, if they're really balling out, that's where the team could start to get desperate for Steve Angeli. So it'll be interesting to see how the Angeli injury lines up with when the schedule starts to get tough for SU.
Certainly so. It all starts on Saturday with the spring game for Fran Brown inside the Dome in the triple header. Well, no shortage of action, though, in Central New York this weekend, but Syracuse softball and tennis hitting the road for some ACC showdowns. We'll break down all that action after these messages.
Got a quarter? Multiple studies have shown that marijuana can slow both driver reaction and response time, which can be really dangerous. He's here. He's here.
Wait.
What?
I can't drive.
Why?
My.
Oh.
On the Bench rolls on with Andrew Della Piana. I'm Gino Antimarino. It's springtime, and that means baseball and softball are in full swing. No pun intended. For Syracuse softball, an 11-14 overall record and no wins through 7 ACC contests leaves this team struggling to stay afloat. Now, a late week series against Pittsburgh, a team that's 4-8 in conference play, was an opportunity for the Orange to get back on the right track. Well, let's walk you through each of the games down in the Steel City, starting with Thursday's meeting. Now, you can see Pittsburgh wearing the pinstripes, Syracuse with the orange bottoms. I mean, that is a uniform showdown. And right off the bat, literally, Jaden Burney going yard on the second pitch of the day. Are you kidding me? Just the third time in the last 10 games that Syracuse scored first. But Syracuse didn't just score first. They scored the first two. That one, a home run from Erica Zamora. The forensic science major, you better go check out that crime scene because that ball was murdered. 2-0 Syracuse, but then Amari Braden makes it 2-1. Syracuse with a 1-run lead going into the fifth. And look at that, smash off the bat. Kaimi Taluma with her first career grand slam makes it 6-1 Syracuse over Pittsburgh. Wow, look at the elation there from the teammates. And Syracuse capped this one off 9-6. The first win in ACC play for the Orange, Andrew.
That has been a long time, almost a year since they last won an ACC game. How could they ride that momentum into Game 2 with Juliana Verdi getting the start for the Cuse? Well, it was Pitt who actually got off on the right foot. Addison Tozek, a sac fly to right field, but this is going to be a phenomenal offensive play by Gracie Hilton to a big Gracie Weaver to get that first run. Madeline Lopez, though, goes the other way for the RBI single. Was an abysmal 3 for 22 in her last 10 games before that at-bat. Here's the big fly, though, for Pitt. Get the charcuterie board out. It's grand salami time for KK Esperanza. Makes it a 6-2 Pitt advantage. And Juliana Verdi, a above 6 ERA entering today. That number continues to climb. Madison Knight, though, with the answer for Syracuse, her 8th home run of the season. It is a 1-run game, but the Orange couldn't get it done in the 7th. Ali Lukashevitz, the closer for Pittsburgh, goes 2 perfect innings to make it a 6-5 victory.
So Syracuse and Pittsburgh each taking the first 2 games, and I mean, just an absolute back and forth matchup like you talked about in that second one. We'll see if Syracuse can get revenge in the third, but Cameron Murphy making it very difficult. A 3 RBI homer makes it 3-0 Pittsburgh in the first inning. Then Kendall Gaunt, she homers to make it 3-2 Pittsburgh on top. Third of the season for Gaunt there. And then Erica Zamora with the sac fly. That brings in Kendall Gaunt. Syracuse takes a 1-run lead heading into the top of the 8th. Madeline Lopez, little soft pop-up, and what a catch by Ty Lee Vaughn. Keeps it tied at 4 apiece, and Shelby Frazier walks it off with a home run, and Pittsburgh takes it 5-4 to end the series against Syracuse. Now, the Orange, Andrew, it hasn't been pretty. 1-9 in ACC play. They now drop to last in the conference, but they've got some easy matchups. I don't want to say easy, but they've got some matchups coming up. Boston College 2-10 in conference play, have lost the 7 straight. Notre Dame 5-10 in ACC play as well. So, like I was just talking about, it hasn't been pretty for Syracuse in conference play, and here to talk more on that, Nick Zuppe, what you got?
Well, Gino, you hit the nail on the head a little bit. You know the phrase, it's not about how you start, it's about how you finish? Well, Syracuse softball hope that applies to its season so far in conference play. The Orange are just 1-9 through the first 10 ACC games, the worst mark since 2015. So why has SU struggled? Well, partly pitching and partly hitting. Starting in the circle, the Orange have given up at least 5 runs in every single conference game. Now, SU's ace, Madison Knight, leads the team in pretty much everything. Innings pitched, wins, and even though it's a tick higher than last year, Knight's ERA of 3.9 is still top 25 in the ACC. So the problem is then finding someone other than Knight to step up, specifically Juliana Verney, who's thrown the second most innings for SU. The senior has 8 losses already, more than the 7 she had the entire season last year, plus Verney's 6.2 ERA is nearly double last season's of 3.7. So if Verney can find her form a little bit, SU has 2 legit pitchers down the stretch it could turn to. But despite having the 3rd worst team ERA in the conference, the Orange's main problem is actually at the plate. In the batter's box this season, the Cuse is hitting just .238, the worst in the ACC by a whopping 30 points. Plus, SU is last in the conference in runs scored and extra base hits. Now, I believe the lack of offense is due to the team's approach at the plate. Too many times, SU hitters fall behind in counts and simply just try to put a ball in play rather than put a good swing on it. Also, the first pitch in an at-bat is typically the best one to hit since the pitcher is trying to get ahead and establish strike one. So, Syracuse hitters, if your pitch is there early in the count, take a good hack at it and send that sucker to Albany. Now, I know I was a little negative right there, but I actually believe better results are coming soon for Syracuse. Looking at the last series against Pitt, there are some positive signs. First off, head coach Shannon Depking has used a different lineup combination in each ACC game so far, but against Pitt, the top 4 of Burney, Lopez, Knight, and Talua proved it worked, scoring 15 of the team's season-best 18 runs in an ACC series. Secondly, one play that swung the entire weekend, and we saw it in the highs, the grand slam in Game 2. SU didn't catch a foul pop-up in the infield the pitch prior, and then that grand slam from Esparza took place. So the Orange were a foul pop-up away from not just winning one ACC game, but taking 2 in the entire series as a whole. All told, guys, despite the early ACC struggles, Syracuse softball looks ready to flip the script and maybe end the season strong. Guys?
Thank you so much, Nick. I think Shannon Depking is going to love that scouting report when you write that out at the end of the week.
Was good.
That was good stuff. That's good stuff. Well, Syracuse tennis splitting a pair of matches last weekend, including a 4-3 win over Wake Forest after storming back from a 3-1 deficit against the Demon Deacons. And the Orange try to take that momentum on a weekend road trip to the Sunshine State. We'd love to be there right now for a pair of ACC matchups facing Miami in Florida State. SU opened the weekend on Friday against Miami, and it didn't last too long. Actually, in fact, under 2.5 hours. A lightning-fast tennis match where Miami dominated in the singles. Darcia Villasolo got things started with a 6-0, 6-1 victory at the number 6 singles spot. Then Lena Bonetto and Emma Scaldalai played together actually for Syracuse for just the second time this season. They actually defeated Sofia Rocchetti and Maria Vargas 6-4 to force a winner-take-all match at the number 2 doubles, but it certainly wasn't enough. And Gino, did it get better on Sunday against the Noles?
Well, let's find out. No.
Oh, okay.
Syracuse fell 4-2 at the hands of Florida State, but how about Shestova? An absolute dominant affair and performance from her. Syracuse and Florida State right there in the standings, both 2-8 in conference play, Andrew. But listen, this is a Syracuse team that they're going up against stiff competition, it seems like, time and time again, just because of how good the ACC is. But Syracuse dropping both games down there, or both matches, in the Sunshine State.
And then when you get to the ACC standings, you see Syracuse on there, Gino? You got to really squint hard. No.
Yeah, let's see.
They're in the back half of this conference right now.
Can I just say, Duke is good at everything.
Yeah,
like,
everything.
Is Duke bad at anything?
Well, when your campus looks like Hogwarts, you know,
I mean, that's
people want to go there.
Hey, we've got Bird Library. Syracuse, 6-11 overall, 2-8 in conference play.
Yeah, good news. All 17 teams, though, make the ACC tournament.
That's right.
So that's good, right?
Right.
Okay.
I guess. Well, when you think of college athletics, almost always you think of something physical, right? We just talked about tennis and softball, but what if I told you there is a sport represented by universities across the country that is completely virtual? Welcome into the world of esports, where instead of hockey sticks, use joysticks. If the fans are too loud, just turn them down with your remote. And if you need a break or your mom asks you to do something, just pause the game. But in all seriousness, what Syracuse University has invested into its esport programs could be the reason parents let their kids stay on the game.
In the wild, wild west that is college athletics today, there's a new sheriff in town, esports gaming.
Syracuse University, along with over 300 other schools across the country, offer varsity programs, but SU has made a strong push to be amongst the best.
We've come a long way in the last 3 years that I've been here. I wouldn't say we came from nothing necessarily because we had a club. But when I got here in 2023, the chancellor really had the idea of let's really get organized and structured. And he wanted Syracuse to be the best at everything esports.
For our Super Smash Bros. Ultimate team, I am listed as the team captain. So I always try to make sure I'm the loudest person in the room, with all honesty, make sure that our fellow teammates know that I have their back, and on top of that there's a supporting cast behind them.
Right now, we're inside the Shine Student Center, one of several places that Syracuse University has to offer to not just its esports team, but to the rest of the student body. Now, the Orange have taken home 5 varsity championships. And actually, right now, Syracuse is going up against Baylor in a game of Super Smash Brothers, and it's pretty close. After experiencing this firsthand, it's safe to say that this is intense. The broadcast setup, the multi-camera setup, the PCs, I am in awe, and it's safe to say that Syracuse University has certainly provided the best equipment to make sure that its team is the best across the country.
The Smash team is looking really good. Last year, Syracuse was a bottom 3 team in the PEC. This year, they brought in a few transfers, one of them being Andrew Moe, also known as Syrup, the 10th best player on Earth and the best player in America.
Obviously, the facilities are amazing, and it's not even just facilities, but like the coaches and like the people in esports care a lot. Like, I can literally, if I wanted to go to like a big tournament, I can literally get like excuse absences just to go, even if it doesn't really have to do with school.
Whether you're recruiting for a football team, a basketball team, a Smash Brothers team, if you're recruiting for like an esports major, if you're recruiting for anything, what an inexact science, what a hard thing to do. And really one of the biggest things for us recruiting is just bringing as many high school students here, because once you walk them through the facilities that we have, we don't need to say anything. They're sold.
And now Syracuse is sitting with a top 4 seed in the PEC, looking to make a real run in Las Vegas. That's in May. That's when the finals are.
And the way that Syracuse University is supporting and backing esports and the amount of support and love that they have for it it's truly something. It's honestly a great experience.
Wow. I was Syrup. As you can tell, I was in shock. Yeah, that's his gamer tag.
That's pretty cool.
What's your gamer tag? Do you have a gamer tag?
Yeah, it's my email. Yep.
It's your email?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you're not going to get doxxed, buddy. This guy.
What's that supposed to mean?
Nothing.
Oh, okay.
It was an unbelievable experience seeing what Syracuse has poured in to this esports program.
Mm-hmm.
Talking about thousands, millions of dollars, right, and investing this into something that they hope to get a return on, because not only can you recruit esports gamers, but you can also bring in, right, you're advertising this to the student body, because you're saying, listen, look at all these great facilities. You can come in, you or I could go in there and run NHL. We could do that.
I would smoke you in Chell.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Who's your team? Who are you going with?
Boston Bruins, baby.
Yeah, right.
They win
Pittsburgh
tonight?
Penguins.
Anyone
check
checking
the
on
standings.
that?
Yeah, Pittsburgh Penguins are going.
Yeah, they play in the Metro. Who cares?
Yeah, okay. All right. Anyways.
But Joey Gariziak, though, he's building something special. I don't know if you had a professor for him, but he was one of my professors. Guy can build a team, I'll tell you that.
Oh, yeah. Well, listen, after this break, we're going to dive into our performers and performances of the week. Now, unfortunately, no esports gamers made the list.
What?
There's a little bit of a spoiler, but you don't want to miss it. Stick around on the bench, cleaning up shop when we come back.
Your daughter just had her first breakup. Do you A, put yourself in her shoes? B, console her?
Don't worry, sweetie. This is gonna happen a lot.
Or C, find her a new boyfriend?
Nice, single boys. That was weird.
As a parent, there are no perfect answers. But you don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will love you just the same.
Closing up shop here on the bench alongside the G-Man, Gino Antimarino. And we talked a whole lot about the sports that people play behind the computer and now the actual athletes. So,
whoa.
Yeah.
That's a shot. Listen, video games, that can work up a sweat.
Really?
I know that's what you like to do when you're exercising, or you just run your mouth. That's what you do to burn calories.
Come on. Two guys, or I should say a lot of people running their feet, comes on Saturday. Remember, big triple header in the dome.
Right.
Coming up on Saturday. Women's lacrosse, men's lacrosse, football spring game.
That turf is going to take a beating, Andrew.
Shout out to the turf crew that is going to be working those three. I mean, you're getting there at what, 9 a.m., leaving there at midnight?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
It's going to be a lot of lost Peloton shoes.
Yeah.
I'll tell you that.
That was good.
Yeah.
That was good. Yeah, I mean, obviously some big ranked matchups you want to keep an eye out for with Notre Dame and Virginia. Make sure you stay tuned on our socials at CitrusTV. We'll have all of the breakdown of those games and as well as Orange Press Passes, and then the football spring game. That's also going to be something that people can really see the new players and the new faces here on the Hill for Syracuse football.
Yeah, we'll have a full slate of coverage, like you said, right here at Citrus TV Sports on X. All right, it's time for our favorite segment, Performers of the Week. Let's start in with player number 5.
Oh,
Let's do it.
Oh, yeah. For this, we head to the diamond. It's Madison Knight. And if you know Knights, they know how to handle swords. And let's just say Madison Knight, 2 hits, 5 RBIs, the senior utility. That means she can do it all. She can pitch, she can swing, she can hit, and she can play the field. Like I just said, she also had that home run against Pittsburgh. And on the mound, she pitched in 2 games, the first game and in the third game against Pittsburgh. And again, wasn't the best in terms of her pitching performance. Gave up 10 hits total, 5 earned runs, but she did have 6 strikeouts. So she is one of the performers of the week, one of the top 5.
Yeah, she's been that Friday starter, has consistently been in that number 4-5 spot. Let's go to performer number 4, and let's hit the women's lacrosse side, if you will. Molly Guzik. What a season 22 has had for the Orange. And no, I'm not talking about Joey Spallina. 36 goals for Guzik this season, including her 6th hat trick of the season in that victory against Duke. Remember, only had 10 goals a season ago, has absolutely lit it up this season for Reggie Thorpe. You want to talk about that input from the first 3 games compared to the output in these last 11? It's been a massive difference and a big reason why Syracuse has now won 11 consecutive games, second longest win streak in the country.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And Syracuse has gotten the top performers when they matter most. Right now you're getting into the gauntlet of the season. You're getting into the thick of it. And so for Syracuse to have Molly Guzik step up, as well as number 3 on our performers list, Ashley Volpe. It is critical for Syracuse to get these contributions. Now I want to talk about this. Volpe had just 1 goal in her last 6 games heading into the dance with Duke. But a hat trick, 4 points against the Blue Devils. Her first hat trick of the season, her 3rd of her career. The junior showing off the poise. And wow, did they need her to step up, because Syracuse obviously taking this game by just 1. But you only need those contributors more when you're on the road, and especially against a ranked conference foe.
And you were at that Yale game in the NCAA tournament where she had those 4 goals. It's so good to see a resurgence back to her. That's really what put her on the map,
Andrew. Yeah, so absolutely right.
4 hat tricks in that game between those 2 teams combined. All right, I like this whole lacrosse theme. Let's stick with it. But on the men's side with Michael Leo. And yes, Syracuse did lose this game to North Carolina, but Michael Leo, he was helping out his friend Joey Spallina a whole lot, who finished with 0 points.
Goose egg.
Yeah. Leo, though, 5 points, 3 goals, 2 assists. Kind of felt like he was single-handedly keeping Syracuse in this game with some clutch goals down the stretch. And we always think of Michael Leo as this hard-nosed attack guy, but the way he's been facilitating this season has also been very impressive.
It's underrated.
And don't forget, too, as a freshman, had that game-winning goal in overtime against North Carolina.
That's right.
Couldn't do it again this year because that UNC offense is so palpable. But Michael Leo absolutely earning that number 2 spot with a 5-point performance.
Well, lacrosse is in full swing. You talked about the men's, but I want to go back to women's, because this team is hot. You mentioned 11 straight, and it's because of this player right here, Emma Muchnick. And she was someone that at the beginning of the season, was struggling. 3 goals in her first 5 games of the year. Now you're thinking to yourself, that's not terrible. But for Emma Muchnick, listen, the leading scorer a year ago, that's not going to cut it. How about 8 goals in her last 4 games, including, like you see there, a hat trick, 4 points against Duke. She's gotten hot at the right times, Andrew, and Coach Thorpe challenged her after those first 3 games of the season and said, I need Muchnick to step up. Guzik has taken a lot of the scoring load, and Emma Muchnick has slowly but surely taken back the reins as being the go-to goal scorer for Syracuse. What a time for that to happen.
And we mentioned it too, that veteran presence had to be important for Syracuse to get off that 3-game losing streak. They've now turned it into 11 straight wins.
Unbelievable.
And Emma Muchnick, a big reason why. All right, that's our performers of the week. What's even better than performers? Plays of the week. We got 5 of them. Let's roll along with play number 5, and it's who you just mentioned. Emma Muchnick for Syracuse. The game-winning goal against Duke. Going low underneath the pogo stick, if you will, to go 5-hole, and for Syracuse to take this one 10-9. That was a hat trick for her to give the Orange the victory. And we just mentioned Emma Muchnick has been much more in all that.
Muchnick iced the game for Syracuse in this one, but how about Kaimi Toluma icing the game against Pittsburgh? This was the first meeting in the best-of-3 series with the Grand Slam. The sophomore notching her first career Grand Slam in this game, her 3rd home run of the season. And look at the power she got loading up that back foot and just watching that thing sail into the Monongahela.
Yeah.
You know what that is?
No, I don't.
That's one of the lakes in Pittsburgh.
Okay,
Anyways.
Sula had over 20 home runs, a senior in Seaside, California. Defense over softball. Gabby Lantier, I dive and catch so clean, you might need to put her on some lifeguard duty. Robbing a base hit away. That was in game 1 of the series.
Wow.
The only one that Syracuse won, in fact, because of big defensive plays like that from Lantier, the senior, out in left field.
Well, we go to the lacrosse field for number 2, Luke Roa. Putting on the brakes on Thai English, but he's showing a little bit of Spanish there. I don't know what that means, but it sounded good, right?
What?
Look at that spin cycle. English is lost in the sauce, and Roa, 2 goals in this game against UNC. He goes upstairs for the snipe against the Tar Heels.
Well, you like spin cycles? I'll give you play number 1. It's Molly Guzik putting her defender, Madison Beal, in an absolute blood.
Oh my gosh.
Goodness. Please, someone
You gotta
check
wipe
out her
the turf
ankles.
off your back.
I think that's setting number 4 on the washing machine.
Oh my
An RPM
gosh.
of over 1,200?
Yeah, that stain's not coming out,
That's
Andrew.
illegal. What a goal by Guzik, leaving her
gosh.
defender in the dust and then finding the top right shelf. I want to talk about top
that
plays.
was-
This one right there, come on.
That was unbelievable.
That was gross.
All right, well, there's been a lot of things happening here around the hill. Syracuse football spring game coming up this weekend. We talked lacrosse, we talked softball, we talked esports. I mean, can you believe that? I never thought esports would make it
Day was
here
coming.
on the bench.
Yep.
But an absolute blast hanging with you, Andrew.
You too, Gino.
Andrew Della, Piana, his final show here at Citrus TV. And oh my goodness, let's break down some of these pictures.
I don't want to
here, Andrew.
dissect any of these.
What's this right here? Is this?
That's on our flight to Chapel Hill, I believe. When did you get that one?
No, I can't say.
Dude, I wore this costume 3 years in a row. Can you believe that? Worked every year.
Sure, yeah, I guess.
Yeah.
I'm glad you didn't grow out of it. That looks good.
That's me eating a Pop-Tart, too. I think I stole someone's in my own house. I forget, though. Don't ask the backstory on that. But just looking at these photos and reminiscing on how much Citrus TV is meant to be. Don't look at that shirt.
Oof.
That's a V-neck. That was
Wow.
after a long
I'm
day.
getting hot.
That
It's
was
getting hot
after
in
a
here.
long
Woo.
day. But this station has meant the world to me. Coming down as a freshman, cutting video, and now to be in this on the bench anchor spot is truly a dream come true. And I couldn't have done it without the amazing people that helped out behind the scenes and my counterparts like you, my friend, that have made this place so special. So thank you so much.
Absolutely, Andrew. I'm glad we got to work together, man.
Me too.
You're an honor to work with, and can't wait to see what you do from here, man.
Thanks, boss.
For everyone down here at Citrus TV saying so long, another On the Bench. Thanks for tuning in.
Passed inside, low to low shot, through the wickets and in. Emma Muchnick completes the hat trick on the day. Moves near side, Roa rips a shot, finds the back of the net. The Syracuse fans can make some noise.
Anderson, one more. Leo shoots and scores. Just what the doctor ordered for SU. Flashing down Cage, a shot and a score. Wyatt Hoddle